Hello everyone and welcome to today's masterclass. I would also take this opportunity to wish everybody and their loved ones to be safe and healthy. I'm Kumar Ashwardhan, part of membership and engagement team at NASSCOM. NASSCOM stands for National Association for Software and Service Companies. We are a trade body and a premium chamber of commerce for tech companies in India. For today's masterclass, NASSCOM has partnered with Entity Data Services to conduct this masterclass. And this masterclass comes under the initiative of NASSCOM's Industry Academia Connect. To conduct this session, we have been joined by Mr. Dhurai Ganesan. Dhurai is Vice President of Intelligent Automation and Data Services at Entity Data Services. He comes with 25 years of experience and has successfully scaled business, team, operation, and maximized various opportunities. Dhurai's current line of work focuses on RPA, AI technologies, and cognitive automation. Welcome, Dhurai, and thank you for joining us. Before we start the masterclass, just wanted to announce that Dhurai will be taking questions during the end of this masterclass. Would request all the attendees to ask relevant questions. With this, let's start today's masterclass on intelligent automation. Over to you, Dhurai. Thank you.
Thank you, Kumar. Hi, hello, everyone. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Yeah. So thank you, Kumar, once again. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Dhurai Ganesan, and you can call me Dhurai. So today we are going to talk about the intelligent automation. It's a very interesting subject, So what is intelligent automation? Before going into the depth of the intelligent automation, it's all about mimicking the human activities, right? This automation is all about mimicking the human activities. What it does, there are two types of work we do, right? It's a hand work as well as the head work kind of thing. Hand work is more of like, typical world, I see something and then do copy paste and then do work in the system. That's exactly, you do that, the step-by-step kind of activities. And also you can think, right? When you say think, it's more of head activity. So the head work is think, and you make a decision based on the historical representation as well as the current, the model of it, etc. It's a more of the working in hand, and other one is on the vision side of it. So let me go into a little bit about what is RPA here, why we are talking about handwork. This is all about RPA, right? RPA stands for robotic process automation. It's not something new technology, right? This automation is for with many years with other industries. With the services side of it, application side of it, how RPA works is it's all rule-based, structure-based kind of thing. If I'm the accountant working on the accounts payable or accounts receivable in any of the accounts department, you see the invoice and then do some of the data, and then that's what you enter into any of the financial system. It can be Oracle financials or SAP kind of systems. So the RPA, what it does is that exactly mimics how the human is doing that work. So when I say exactly mimic, it logs into the system and providing the username, password, which is the credential side of it, go and look for the invoice and open that invoice, what are the informations you're looking for. And that's exactly, you do that end-to-end kind of thing. The head work is more of it is thinking, decision making is involved. That's what we are going to talk about in detail on the intelligent automation side of it, right? So let's see how really we see the human brain, as well as how we can correlate this with the intelligent automation side of it, right? The human brain is we are learning. When you see something, when you go to some place, right? The next time when you go, you are not using Google Map. Certain time we need Google Map also for short time, shorter road. And that's what you are learning, and you are processing something, definitely, right? That processing, it helps to solve Like we don't want to see a problem, right? It can be opportunity or task or whatever it is, and you take a wise decision. So this is what is is all about the human brain, both on the left, right side of it is functioning today. And if you see on the intelligent machine side of it, sorry, intelligent machine side of it, it also learns from the experience, and it uses learning to reason and solve complex problem and create sometimes the perspective kind of thing. And the image or the recognize the image is the very important area. So how your eyes and brains and other functions are working the same way, uh, uh, the, the the intelligent machine also has the vision, or we call it as computer vision. You all know about it, right? So we'll go a little bit depth about how the human mind is replicated into the intelligent machine and helps us today to solve through intelligent automation, right? And before going into that, everyone knows that, right? The Netflix. I watch one movie today, and then when you go into the other movie, it suggests based on your interest rate, based on your view profile, etc. And the second thing is, if buy the grocery items, or look for some search, when you go into some of the other site, it brings that relevant information in front of you, right? That's the kind of intelligence. All the systems Netflix, Amazon, every systems are having it today. And over and above today, our home appliances are managed through, I would say, mobile kind of technology, or Alexa kind of thing. I can switch off, switch on, and with my Alexa. So that is how the day-to-day life, where you can correlate with how automations are really helping us, right? So this is on the smart home side of it. Everyone is aware of it, right? This is just a simple app. You can set your temperature of your air conditioner, right? You can switch on, switch off your TVs. Many things you can achieve it through this, the smart homes. It's making or helping us today to make easy things. Right? That's how it works today. Let me go into the evolution side of it, right? So when we started our automation journey, I would say that, say 5-6 years ago, we want to do, this is a baby step we started, right? It's a macro based, everyone is doing it today. It's a macro based, workflow based, right? To process little bit the tiny kind of work, repeated kind of work, you can automate it through that macro based or workflow based kind of thing. And then what we started doing was the platform based or the rule based kind of approach. It's all rule based. It's all you're working on some of the platform. That's where the automation really works. And when I say the yesterday, I would say a couple of years back, so what we have come up with, this is more of end-to-end automation. When I say end-to-end automation, it's no, it's just a partial, right? You're automating it some portion of work and then handing over to the human to do that work. Here, if machine can do the end-to-end work, right? The intelligent machine can do the end-to-end work. Why not the human, or the automation cannot do, or the human, however they are doing it? That's where we have come up with the end-to-end kind of automating that steps process, and replace whatever that human doing, or the whatever the, I would say, not the mundane task, repeated task, right? We want the human to work on skilled work, not for the unskilled or the repeated task. So that's where we have created it. Okay, we were very happy when we deployed our first bot, right? So but we were facing a lot of challenges. When I say a lot of challenges, after deploying the first bot, right, 3 months, 4 months time period, it was awesome, right? Everything was working fine. All of a sudden, there are some changes on the platform side of it. So when you change some logic or the new capabilities you bring in the existing platform, obviously the already deployed bots are not going to work, right? Because it's all looking for this screen coordinations, and then go and look for that particular the field, extract that field. Based on the extracted field, you do apply the business rule. Now that extracted field position itself is changed, or the logic itself changed. The bot started failing. It is because of the change request. I will put it simply. Everyone is aware of it. Change request is all about I'm making changes to the existing system. So that's where we have come up with, I want to make a bot, right, without any piece of script, piece of code. I want to make it or develop a bot using configuration. Would it be possible to do that, right? So how can I develop a platform to build a bot using configurator? I'm going to talk about it a little bit later on this particular areas. It really helped us to automate. So say, for example, we were taking, say, 6 weeks to develop a bot. Today, we were able to do it in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, less than 4 weeks time period. We are doing it, right? It's all about reusable kind of. Till this stage, I would say that till this stage, it's all about RPA or rule-based kind of work. But in today's world, this is more of AI. AI is all about artificial intelligence. Okay, now you can think, or you can ask, you are talking about RPA, you are talking about AI, in between, people are talking about analytics. What is this, right? Why different terminology? We don't want to go on to complicate it, right? So that's where we, the industry is calling it as intelligent automation, or we call it as triple A factors. When I say triple A factors, this is all about A for automation, A for analytics, A for AI. It's all combined together. Otherwise, you will automate the piece of work, structured work, but in today's world is more of unstructured world, right? Images. With that images, you need to go and when you see that, you know what exactly you are seeing. Oh, this is Apple, but you need to train the system to learn this is Apple or something else. So that's where the machine learning, deep learning, and it is natural language processing and object recognition. And over the period, you should self-learn. And when you correct, when you find some error or issues where the human is identifying, the machine should learn on its own and heal on its own. That's how the AI technology really helps us. So now you can see the transformation from the very simple macro-based automation into the full-fledged automation. That's the only way you can help the customer. Otherwise, you will end up doing multiple technologies in place that will create more confusion, more maintenance effort, lot of other support is required. Right? So this is how the evolution really came up in the intelligent automation world side of it. This is exactly how we architectured and built our technology. So you can see here, this is what is interesting piece, right? So what makes machine intelligent? You can see a lot of technologies here, right? The machine learning, we talked about deep learning, natural language processing, NLG, natural language generation, knowledge representation, right? Robotics is a general terminology. So image analytics, visualization. And also we talked about IoT and other things, right? It's just a combination of everything. This is all about the intelligent automation. But where you are going to use, which function you are going to use, which business you are going to use, that varies. Maybe I'm planning to take some of the examples on the healthcare side of it and then talk about how really it helps on the healthcare side of it. And if you go and implement the same intelligent automation on the banking or the manufacturing side of it, oil and gas side of it, it's some completely different, right? Because domain specific requirements will vary or the functions will vary. How the human is doing, that's what the machines are going to do, or the intelligent machines are going to do. This is a kind of honey combo. You can see we can add a lot of other things, right? So what exactly machine makes or make machines intelligent kind of thing. And moving on to the other side of it. This is what is interesting topic, right? The graduating to intelligent automation. When I say graduating, it has various topics. So I would say there are 5-6 topics are important one to do that. One is you need to know the approach of it, right? The second, you need to know the scope of work. Third is like know what you are going to execute, or like the process execution is the third step. And fourth is where like the technology comes in. What technology you need to do that? Is that simple RPA or cognitive or AI or analytics, or like the kind of thing. What kind of workforce is required? So we should not assume that everything can be automated. Still, that human effort is required. Some stages, like see for example, we did deployed for one of the bank on the KYC process. So they have the process of like double I validation kind of concepts, which is about like even though machine is doing or the human is doing, to level of like the audit to ensure that whatever the data captured in the system is correct or not. So obviously the workforce is like two types. One is a digital workforce and another one is the human workforce. Well, in terms of intelligent automation, what we are developing is called like digital workforce, and we need human support to complete any of the work, that we call it as like the human workforce. So workforce is important. And finally, like you need to think of the outcome of it. So what is the outcome you are doing it? So this is a step-by-step approach. Like I talked about like first we go and do the assess process. That's how everyone is doing it. But is that sufficient, right? How can we do the like digitally transformed business? Otherwise, you say that okay, there are like 100 people working on that shop and automated 10 people worth of work, 90%. Okay, you can say still you are bringing some benefit, but there are a lot of other costs involved in it, right? How are we going to do the digital transformation through the technology? That's a kind of vision or approach. The second one is this is scope. So what specific business area or like function or department we are going to do that? So if I take a business like HR is like finance function, HR function, legal function, like core business area functions, a lot of departments are there. Is there like are we going to do the specific area or the function to automate, or like you are going to do the organization wide automation drive, that we call it as COE, stands for Center of Excellence, right? What is the approach, or like what's the scope you are going to define? And third is like the process execution, right? Is there any human intervention is required to handle any of the exceptions, right? Exception handling is the important one. When I say exception handling, some new scenario comes, you deploy the intelligent automation bots, right? Some new scenarios comes in where the existing bot is not able to think and process. Then what it will now do is like you cannot hold that, right? Otherwise you will not be able to complete the task. You don't know, is it really running, not running, completed, not completed, you don't know. So that kind of thing would be routed to automatically to the human queue, which means like it's a hand in hand kind of thing. The bot is not able to do because of some reasons, like with the reason it will route it to the human to handle the exception, right? And obviously the self-learning and the data-driven process is the approach is required. And technology, what technology you are going to go with that? Is that RPA technology, right? If it is anything related to RPA, there are plenty of technologies available in the market today, namely automation, Anywhere, Blue Prism, UiPath, Crayon, right? The same way NTT also has our own RPA platform. It is Nucleus RPA. So, or are you going to go with multiple technologies, right? This is what is like the implementation approach or decision, how you are going to bring the benefit out of it through the intelligent automation, right? It's RPA, AI, analytics, and very important thing is this workflow. I'll talk about like why workflow is very important, right? And the workforce we talk about, right? There are two types of automation it works in the industry today. One is unattended and another one is unattended. So attended means like it's a man-machine combinations. Machine will do the repeated task, hand over the control to human to complete, take final decision kind of it. That's called like attended. Unattended is like it exactly does like or mimics how the human is doing it today, right? The step by step, like beginning to end, it does completely. That's the difference between attended and unattended. Okay, is that sufficient, right? The next important thing is like how are we going to bring the hybrid workforce, or we call it as like phygital technology. Phygital technologies is all about the physical and digital. right? So that's what the human and digital, how it is going to work in a conversational agents kind of situations, right? To bring help our customers today. Finally, the outcome is, right? So the outcome is, right? Are you looking for it's only the productivity improvement, or no, you want to expand or do more with less, right? So just productivity improvement or no saving through automation is a one step. No more of we need to do the business expansion of it. How are we going to do that? That is what is very, very critical in today's world. I'm sure no, you all, I would say maybe this kind of approach would really help us to graduate the intelligent automation kind of model today, right? So I'll quickly talk about how the intelligent automation or to make it work. Right? So we are just talking about automating the work or the process or whatever the human is doing it today. But where it is hosted, right? It's all hosted in the either in the cloud, right? There, if you go into the cloud, it's a public cloud or private cloud or etc. Some situations still typical boxes, right? On premise, they will have their own servers, each server will have to run the automation. You need to have the VDIs. The VDIs would be pulled into kind of thing. So that is exactly it works. It works. Uh, this is mainly documents and reports and human and bots and then business rules and compliance. And sometimes when you talk to the third party system, it's more of APIs, right? That's how the source of input is going on. And we talked about the sensors and IoTs and etc. Right? So when you do these things and it's all go into event data kind of situations, and finally you can see that it's a digital agent or AI ML model kind of is required, or it is no, you can handle it through workflow, or you need to have advanced analytics, no, is what kind of decision management is required. It's all about is we are looking for. We are looking for. And the intelligent automation, I'm talking about the outcome of it, right? The outcome is mainly we are going to talk about how really it is helping us. It is helping us to reduce the processing errors, right? That's what is like the business does today, and it decreases the processing time and the operational cost. That's what is business is looking for always, right? Achieving speed and accuracy beyond what human works are capable of, and addressing the skills gap, and processing high volume of this. Everyone knows about it, right? Is the at most important is customer experience and satisfaction for the customer. That's what this is going to really help them increase the compliance for organization. I'll talk about when we talk about the compliance and security, how really it helps today. Optimizing the workforce productivity and offering better insights to the business. This is the kind of outcomes it's helping us today for our customers when you do deploy the intelligent automation. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of the sample use case, right? So we talked about that industry, we talked about the business, we talked about how really it helps, etc. Right? So if I go into the customer services side of it, right, this is an inquiry or self-service portal kind of thing, or feedback or service is the customer side of thing. If you go into the healthcare and life sciences side of it, it's more of prescription management, clinical documentation, and drug discovery. The clinical documentation is the complex area. I'll talk about it, how really, sometime back, I talked about the unstructured environment. When I say unstructured environment, how really the intelligent automation is working. So that we are going to discuss about. Banking is mainly some of the key areas. The know your customer. It's called KYC, and you have to handle the user authentication, regulatory reporting, and fraud detection. So this is some of the areas it's very, very critical. And if you take that IT and infra side of it, it's all about if my system is not working, your laptop is not working, your laptop is broken, you have to raise a ticket, right? And you need a person to resolve it. And it has a lot of it. So how can we bring the auto resolution of solving the ticket? Sometimes you may need to install the patches. So how, without human intervention, we can do it? Right? Threat detection and capacity planning is all like no important thing. The human resources is all about candidate profiling, employee virtual assistant, and performance management kind of situations. And finally, the government side of it, right? The tax compliance, relief management, many other things. Some of the sample side of it, some sample use cases where we deployed or deploying our intelligent automation for our customers. Right? Is that where we can do that? This is another important topic, right? Okay, everybody is talking about bot, and I'm deploying like intelligent automation, RPA. Many topics are there, right? Is it going to take away my job? This is what this is a myth, I would say that. This is the kind of myth everyone has today that, okay, hey, if I automate this, it's going to take away my job, or it's going to reduce my team headcount, or what I'm going to do. This is the general, I would say, the kind of fear everyone has. Okay. No, this is not the situation, right? If you see what kind of impacts or the intelligent automation is bringing in today, right? In recent 2020 emerging report published by LinkedIn, so US, India, and UK, for example, the careers in artificial intelligence and the RPS shows with the top 4 engineering roles. It's just the top 4 engineering roles are the jobs which is creating it today. And second is what automation. So while automation is associated, the loss of jobs, right? I'll put it this way. We are withdrawing a cash through today with the ATM machines, right? When the ATM machines introduced, the bank tellers or the cashiers, what they thought was, what I'm going to do? I'm going to lose my job. No, no. So the situation is the bank is there, the employees are there. In fact, more employees are there in the bank, and more number of ATMs available in every state and corner. You can see that, right? In the other recent, the World Economic Forum, WF, they call it as, right? So they said that there are about 75 million jobs are expected to displaced by intelligent automation. However, it is like expected to increase for about 133 million new roles. You can understand, right? The result is like it is going to bring 58 million new roles, new jobs for us in the industry today because of the intelligent automation. And the other survey says that the AI analytics and the smart automation could contribute the GDP by 2030 for about 15 trillion USD. 15 trillion is not easy thing, right? And McKinsey says it is going to bring the percentage of work from this to this kind of. This is the kind of the impact we can see through intelligent automation today. So, okay, we talked about intelligent automation. And so let's talk about the man machine, phygital or hybrid, whatever it is, right? So I'll use that word hybrid here, right? AI or the artificial intelligence or the intelligent automation helps us to speed up the work, bring accuracy, and do the computation very effectively. Human strength is this is a more of taking the judgment, decision making, etc. Is what it's a, with the automation, human decision is what is going to do things in a better way. That's one thing side of it. So the second is how are we going to bring that hybrid teams to generate a business outcome? We'll talk about it, right? This is what is the world is looking for today and where we are heading today, and how we are automating the blue collar jobs in the manufacturing or agriculture area, how it will help us, or the intelligent automation will help us to do more in the white collar jobs, right? TDS and some of that hiring jobs, what we do on the day-to-day basis kind of thing. So welcome to the man-machine or the virtual, hybrid world today, right? So it's all today what we are seeing. This is a man-machine, hybrid or digital kind of technology, right? So we talked about the general stuff today. Let me take you to the intelligent automation world, what we do within entity data services side of it, right? And so what we did was it's all about transform your business through automation or intelligent automation. When I say transform, this is how the human was working right now, the human, and slowly bringing like no half human bot, like no the powered bot kind of thing. So there are two types of, so this is our internal terminology, AFTE. In the IT world, FTE is the standard terminology, stands for full-time equivalent. So AFTE, like no, we named it as like no automated full-time equivalent, right? Which means like no, you are exactly mimicking what the human was doing it, right, with the bot, which is called the AFTE. The second type of work is like the man-machine automation. So we call it as like PRA, which is like personal robotic assistance. It's like having my own assistants help me to do the repeated task, mundane task, and I want to take our decision or doing the decision making job, that kind of thing. That's how we transformed from like this stage to this stage today. And are we doing like scripting all the parts? Are we like so how are we bringing the process atoms? We call it as process atoms. Process atoms is more of like bringing the reusable components. Reusable components help us. See, for example, when you log into the system, any platform, you need to enter your credentials, right? The credentials is more of like providing your username, password. Do I need to develop that page every time? How can I reuse that, right? How can I have like process library or like reusable libraries? And that's what we call it as like process items. Okay. So we are talking about automation or intelligent automation, right? Automation is going to do the step-by-step activity or the series of activity, but who's going to provide the inventory to the bots, which is very important. Otherwise, like you will do just one task and then like wait for like no other task. You don't know where to go and pick the other task. Human, I know like this is the clerical job. Like I have like 50 files I have to go through today. This is my first file. Like go through that. Like put stamp or like upload. Okay, I'm taking the second. That's where the workflow plays a very, very vital role. That helps us to route the task or give the inventory for the bots. And in some situations, if bot is not able to perform the task, that's what we talked about earlier about the exception, right? Or new scenarios comes in where you have not let go the configure the bot or the develop the bot, then those will be automatically routed into human queue. It's like you have like your own mailbox. When you open your mailbox, you will have like 50 mails. Like you will read, respond, like act something on that. The same way it will have that human queue routed to the human queue, and with that you will know to complete my like the overall work, how many digital labors are required, how many like the human labors are required, what percentage of the exceptions you can. This is the way you can plan when you do develop, deploy any of the automation for any of the business, right? So you decide that, okay, hey, my automation, I'm planning for 80% of the productivity improvement, which means still you are looking for 20% of the human labor to help me out or support on this kind of thing. This is the kind of like end-to-end view of the intelligent automation framework, right? And okay, how we are building that intelligent automation today is this way, right? This is a little bit interesting one. The RPA component, when you say it's all about libraries or like the business rules and exceptions, etc. You go on, if you when you go to like SAP kind of application, right? When you log in and you see that, is it the web-based application or it is a mainframe application or it is like a Windows-based application. So accordingly, we have a component to automate it. See, for example, I'm going to automate the mainframe application, right? Green screen. You would have seen like very old technology screens. Like the terminal connect is the one component. What it does, I just drag that here, and I have documented all the steps and other thing, right? And you just configure this here, what exactly you are, what you understood, or capture the step-by-step process from the requirement gathering side of it. The step one is requirement gathering, and then drag the component and you configure it. That based on the configurations, you can construct a bot, right? This is the way you construct it. Okay, I've developed the bot, right? So can I go and push them into production without doing any of these things? No, that's very, very critical, right? You need to do the quality check or the compliance check kind of thing. So there are terminologies, or you must follow. See, for example, if I take US healthcare, right? When you are automating any of the US healthcare work, claim processing or adjudication or whatever it is, right? You must follow the HIPAA compliance, right? So in the ideal world, people, if they are going to work on any of the healthcare business for the healthcare customer in the US, he or she must certify the HIPAA certification. Without that, they are not allowed to work on the system. See, if the human needs to be certified, why not bot? So that's where we brought in the compliance and quality checks and other thing. Once the compliance and quality check is passed, then it is pushed into the production. During the production stage, it captures the metadata, production data, analytics data, etc. Right? This is what really helping us to build our AI and machine learning through the automation. Right? Analytics is all about based on the historical trend, right? Based on last 2-3 years historical data, and you can plot it how the next 6 months trend is going to be, how the next 1 year trend is going to be. Will that solve your problem? No, it's just going to give you the postmortem report. That's all. But it's exactly the AI and machine learning is the one is going to solve the problem with the historical data, right? You must have the data. Fine. Okay. How are we going to help our business people, right? So it's just a call we have got a command center, RPA command center, and the ground station model. When I say the ground station model, so if you go to the airport, there are lanes and then the flights are coming and going. How do you manage, right? So that's they have the concept called ground station. The same way, the bots are deployed in different regions, different geos, and locations. Before even if something goes wrong, you need to pull them, right? So is it really working, not working? Why? The proactive mechanism. And that's where the ground station and command center is really helping us, our customer today. This is how we are doing the typical bot development and deployment management and kind of thing. Now you can ask, right? I'm automating the business work today. So earlier we talked about AI is going to help us to automate our own engineering work, right? So I'm a software engineer, right? So automation engineer. How automation will help, or this technology will help optimize my work, right? I don't want to do repeated codes, this, that, typing. No, I'm losing my interest. So that's where we have come up of, okay, this is what is the requirement side of it. I'm gathering the requirement. I need people to gather the requirement. Then I need to go do the configuration side of it. If any changes, change management comes in, I did deploy the bot, and due to business change or validation or screen change, resolution change, then how I'm going to handle that, right? So again, I need to redo the work, retest it. So how can we avoid that? So that's where we did deploy to the technology is okay, you're working in the system, right? You are again, I'm taking the accounts job, right? You're working on the accounts payable work. So what this system will go and quietly it will sit on in your system and watch what you are doing step by step kind of thing, right? So it captures all the events, metadatas, and whatever you are processing it during your work, right? and it creates a video frames. Whatever the events I'm capturing it creates a video frames with the metadata. Right now, you have the output file of video output file, right? So it's like, no, I took one like no account, and I started processing it, and then it quietly watched, and I'm taking the second one. Okay, fine. So whatever you processed it, you have that video file of it. That video file is the input into the automation engine, right? What it does is, from the recorded video file, it creates a bot or configure the bot automatically, right? So now, very complex scenarios. Today, it helps us to automate ranges between 30 to 50% of the development work. It helps us today. So it helps, this technology really helps to automate the automation engineer work. So that's how the technology we built it, right? It reduces the bot making cost as well as the time. And you know, right, once the bot is ready, you can push the bot into production. The typical, like, you know, the validation, audit, and other things kind of thing, you can do that. So if any complex scenarios, you can override, right now, the remaining 50% of the work, you can go ahead and do the configuration or coding or whatever it is to complete the bot development, and you can deploy the bot. So this is what is the technology really helping us to do the same level of automation work in a faster and, like, no, with less cost. So that's one side of it. And second is on the change management I talked about. So when you develop a technology or the bot, technically it's the technology called screen scraping technology. So if I go and see the web page, and from the web page I'm going to, or like if I take like the same invoice, if I take like an invoice, I want to capture that say invoice number, invoice date, total amount, etc. So I do coordination, right? X, Y coordination. Based on the coordination, it reads the data. That's what you are scraping it, right? That's a traditional technology kind of thing. And if you change the screen position, resolution, or, like, you know, the screen behavior, obviously the existing bots are not going to work. So I would say that majority of the situation when we develop it is all like, no, we are developing the impaired bot, like visually impaired bots, right? So when you, this is what, right? You are doing it, but it is not going to solve the problem. That's where, like, no, the AI powered that object sensor. When I say the object sensor, it is more of like, no, bringing the vision to the bots. It's called computer vision. Right, I'll just quickly show what is computer vision, right? So I'll just simple example here. You can see that the cursor moving. This is what is the image I'm going to like, or the application I'm going to click and then, like, no, get into some level of operations. And it was here and suddenly moved here, and it is moved here. When you look for the coordinations, initially it was looking at here, right? Now it is moving. Now computer know exactly with the power of vision. Oh, I am looking for this term 2K2 and whatever, right? So acute term 2K2, and it goes and look for all over the screen and then do the function. This is how bringing the vision to the bots, right? Okay, I'm a little bit going into other examples side of it. Is that bots are going to do the sequential activity or the parallel activity, right? When I say parallel activity, how it works? Do we really require the parallel activity? So how are everyone is talking about reusable components. Why not reusable bots, right? So many scenarios are there. So I'll take one example, the real-time example, what we deployed recently for one of our health plan or the health insurance customer in the US. So how health plan and healthcare provider, the relationship is more of, you go to the hospital, right, or the clinic, which is all about the provider side of it or hospital side of it. They provide the service to the patient. Once they provide service to the patients, they send claims to the insurance company. Insurance company, they review it, and they say that, like, no, I'm going to take a decision to pay for it or deny for it. So that is how the healthcare flow of it, right? So to Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. We have 15 minutes left and we have a lot of questions. So if we can
Oh,
wrap.
right. Okay, right. Yeah. So here, like, what it does is like, you have to onboard the doctor. To onboard the doctor, so you have to sign a contract. When I say contract, it's hundreds of pages, right? So how bot, it's all rule based. It's unstructured. If anything situation, this will not be able to do that. So the DREAP kind of engine we call it as, like, cognitive engine. We built that. How it works is this way, right? This is the reusable bots, just goes and pulls that information. And this is the, like, the processing side of it, unstructured information. If any relevant information is not there, then it takes a decision to route it to human and apply the rules, apply the, like, the quality check or audit check, and finally it posts it into the commands, into the final system. This is, and you have the command center in front of you to monitor it. So this is what, like, how really it helps us today. And we are talking about that hybrid technology, right, or digital technology. We are talking, say, how really it works in the environment today. Is this, you can see the physical workforce, the human workforce. They use the workflow system, and digital labors are like, different technology. It can be blueprints and UI path. Cognitive technologies is more of unstructured environment today, and are the AI related things, and conversational agents, right? You heard about the chatbot and other thing. What it does, I talked about the avatar, right? How it automatically capture the process steps to create the bot, right? And then if any new scenarios, I'm just giving you how in real time world, the implemented bots are really helping your customer, and visually they can monitor it, right? If any new scenarios comes in, like, then the task is going to fail, that workflow will handle seamlessly to route it to the human queue. And this is the command center to manage human output, and command center to manage that digital labors or the bot output. But do I need to go with the two different like the command center? That is where, like, virtual resource monitoring is bringing in front of you. Do I need to sit in front of the system always? No, right? We are bringing in, like, the mobility and smartwatch system today. It alerts before even, like, something happens. It alerts the the engineers or the business people what exactly is going on. Right. This is the another technology. This is a universal bot converter. You can convert from one technology bot into another technology. This is an interesting topic. So these are all, like, some of our patented recently, like, we really received the patented technology, what and how we are helping customers today. And finally, like, I'll take just 2 minutes of this time. So far we talked about developing, deploying, managing, and how it is really helping the customers, right? And security, vulnerability and security is the very, very critical thing where we need to really take care of it, right? When you develop a automation or intelligent automation, this is must to follow. So, okay, this is the bot, I deployed it. There are various, people are monitoring it. So the bot administrator is the one is monitoring, scheduling, managing kind of thing. And second is, like, it is deployed it in the server or the cloud. There are some remote server admin people are there. This is the support side of the engineering people if something goes wrong. This is the command center, when the business people, closely monitor. So there are various level of protection we have created it, and also um, you can clone these bots into multiple level of thing, and you can encrypt this bot. This is bringing the bots into the secured environment, and how you are protecting from various threats is what is the critical path. And when you go and do any of the development, this is the must to have action to monitor, and it's very, very important. Without handling this, it would be tough. For example, we have a bot obfuscation. When I say bot obfuscation, say, for example, I've developed a piece of code and converted as exe. Can you break that exe to see what logic I've built? Technically possible. If you could give me any of the file or with exe, or any level of thing, I can break and show it to you the details of it, business logics, what you have written, which means I can thread or I can do whatever I want with that information. The bot sophistication is more of stuff. It sophisticates the code. Means when you have something this access and try and do this opening that file, you will not get the logic of it. It will confuse the actors. So the sophistication and the authentications and encryptions, these are all the mandatory things to go with that. With that, so I had to rush a little bit. And if anyone is interested, I'm available, and you can reach out through you know this channel, and then we can discuss through Harsh and other teams. Yeah.
Thank you, Dhurai, for sharing your insights and expertise with the students. We have received a lot of questions,
Yeah.
and majority of the questions were regarding the internship and placements.
Yeah.
So I would like to announce to all the students that uh, you would have registered with your college name. Request you to kindly reach out to your placement offices for the recruitment related questions with entity data service. They will definitely help you out. And so we have received various questions, some really interesting ones. So there is one question from the first year student. What skills are needed to improve for automation and robotics engineering from first year?
So it's a very interesting question, and thanks for asking that, right? See, for example, I'm a Microsoft shop guy, right? So I use Microsoft technology to do that. There's a similar way, there are other technologies, our technology and other technologies, you do that. The technology is not a barrier here. The thing is, when you want to really go into the intelligent automation related or AI related kind of development, there are a lot of courses, that. Little bit analytical skill is required. Can I do this differently? Innovation mind with a little bit analytical skill is what knows make you to work or deliver or deploy things in a different way. That's how the technologies are evolved. So I would not sure I answered your question or not, right? So you may need to read and understand, bring your analytical capability that will help you to build your this kind of technologies in a different way.
Okay. There is another follow-up question to this.
Yeah.
Is programming needed for automation? If yes, what kind of programming? I mean, what kind of platform to use?
No, the programming is required. In today's platform, right, if I talk about the industry, there are platforms available for the RPA today, right? It's a Blue Prism, UiPath, and anything, right? I would suggest go with .NET, C# kind of base technology and a little bit analytical capability, and the domain side of it. Domain side of it, when you go into the job, you will get it, right? So where you are going to pick and choose your business or work, there you can learn the domain side of it. So technology is important, and the very basic thing I'm talking about, .NET, C# kind of thing. When you go into little bit on the AI or cognitive side of it, you need to learn more about the machine learning and deep learning, Python, or there are other set of things. So don't complicate yourself, right? Where you want to go, how you want to do that. AI is the word today, right? Artificial intelligence is the future, and intelligent automation is the future. And this kind of basic skill set would help us to help you to do your job better. There are platforms available, and the platforms are it's a low code platforms, they call it as today, that generates the code automatically. But will it help to complete the end-to-end work? No, still that engineering work is required. And the answer is yes, no. Yes, is like, there are low code platforms or auto generated kind of platforms are there, or it will give you the syntax itself, how you have to write. You need to just get the certifications. But the advanced technologies is more of like, it's a brain game. So yeah.
Okay. So the another question is, as you mentioned in your presentation, that intelligent automation will is predicted to bring 133 million jobs after replacing a number of other jobs.
Yeah.
Could you give a few examples on the kinds of jobs that would emerge when more jobs are automated?
Okay, I'll take the typical example with entity data, right? So entity data has three business towers, right? Application development and maintenance, and BPO kind of work, the infrastructure kind of work. If you take like, I'm just talking about one region of it. There are about 50,000 people like, working on these different technologies. And if I take India employee alone, if I take, right, so there are about 19% of the overall headcount we have automated and deployed the pod. Is that means like, no, the 19% of the headcount reduced from the overall entity data? No, it got increased, right? When we started, it was like, no, very less number. Now the headcount is really increasing. That's what the bank example also I've talked about it. So which one, so if I take like, the unstructured world, right? If I take that invoice, or if I take the contracts, it is not just human work, right? Beyond human work. And how, like, it's the kind of, you are bringing the heuristic pattern matching kind of thing. For that, you need to write the AI algorithm, or like machine learning, deep learning with NLP kind of capabilities. So that's the kind of opportunities are not the machine can do today, and engineers are required to create these kind of like, algorithms, or like, bringing the NLP capabilities to blend that algorithms to read the unstructured documents. So there are multiple ways to bring jobs. That's how the industries are enhancing it today. And that's exactly the, so sometime back, the Gartner is the analyst report. They said that there are about 6 million jobs, 6 million bots are going to be deployed by 2020, right? But exactly, if you see, there are about 8 to 9 million bots are deployed by end of 2020. But it increased, it's not reduced any of the headcount, it increased a lot of headcounts. So the technologies are like AI technologies, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, those kind of areas would really increase. That's what the survey says.
Okay, interesting. The another question is, I mean, it's an interesting question, and the question and the person who has asked, I guess he's a movie buff, Hollywood especially. Can the development of artificial intelligence and robotics escape the human control? He's talking scenarios like Terminator and Matrix.
Oh, that's a very good example and interesting area, right? Which uh, industry you are going into it. I don't know. I'm not able to answer that question in a
Yeah, I'm supposed it's a very futuristic question,
very
right?
futuristic question. Yeah, that's a very nice and futuristic question. And
Correct, correct.
how you are going to define your future is all about important. Uh, if you ask me, I don't know.
Yes. Uh, but the next question is, it's very India specific. What are the barriers for higher adoption of various intelligence automation technologies in Indian large and medium-sized manufacturing industries? Because still in India, we are not there at Industry 4.0. We are still stuck at 2.5, 3.
Correct, correct. So if you take like, there are industries, manufacturing industry is really going very well, right? There is no there you can see a lot of growth in that. And if I see the adoption in India is more of the accounting work, right? Finance or HR or those areas are really growing fast, and then the percentage of adoption in India is a lot I can see today. But the other countries, really, they are going in on healthcare world. Healthcare is the important growing area. Banking and financial is another important area. Insurance, I see like that there are plenty of growth I see, and India also adopting that. But we are not yet there. But I see the adoptions.
Okay. So probably this will be the last question because we have exhausted the time which was assigned to us. Uh, it is, what do you consider is more challenging, making an automation process or scaling it up for larger systems?
Okay, that's a very good question, right? So earlier was bring it into steady state process and you automate it. That's how the industry was doing it. But today's world, this is automation first. When I say automation first, this is more of how can you bring the automation in the beginning stage itself? You can do the study, you can do the research, everything, and bring the or evolve your business along with automation, right? The future is more of the steady state process or automation first approach. That's how it is going on. And obviously right now, whatever that approach, manage, maintain is the important thing. How you are going to reduce that stuff to bring stability, that is what is making your business comfortable. Yeah.
Okay. So with this, we are ending today's masterclass. Thank you, Dhurai, for your time and sharing the expertise and insights on intelligent automation. I'm sure that it would have excited the student to pursue their career in this very interesting field. Uh, and I would also extend my thanks to Entity Data Services team, especially Ritika and everyone for making it possible. To all the attendees, the presentation and the recording for this session will be shared to your respective email. Uh, Till now, then have a great night, day, whoever people are joining us from US. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Kumar. Thank you, Ritika. Stay safe. Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.